Perfect. I'm really glad you're here, Kimberly, because it's 2 feet of snow in the ground and tons of snow on all the boughs of the trees, and it's January. So, what other time of the year do we want to talk about the garden? I'm glad
Yeah,
you're here.
exactly.
So Kimberly is here to give us a canning demonstration. And this was a request in the Homeschool Mama Patreon support group for a customized workshop to learn how to can. And tell me a little bit about your canning experience or your past history with canning.
It's just something we've always have done. I mean, it's just kind of like homeschool. It's just something we've always done, and so it's just something I do.
Love it.
I kind of got away from it. We moved out here to the farm where we live now, and I got away from it for a while and went to all store-bought stuff, and I thought it was cheaper. And so just in the last couple of years, I've actually really started getting into trying to be more self-sustained and really eating our own food. And then the more you learn about what goes into the food you actually buy and everything, there's a lot more love going into your own food.
Yeah, there sure is. I actually know
Yeah.
someone locally who also happens to be a homeschool mom of 2 kids, and they are self-sustaining, except I remember her saying for pepper and toilet paper. And
Wow.
that is a remarkable feat because when you go into this direction of having gardens and producing things and trying to do things independently, you realize it's really challenging to be independent
Hmm.
and fully
Yeah.
self-sustaining.
Yeah, it really is. It really puts you, it really challenges you because you kind of have to switch from using oils, and then you kind of have to switch from using sugar if you want to just go straight honey or molasses. It's just, and then you kind of have to start tweaking your recipes. And this year, since we did have so many apples, I ended up doing probably close to 100 quarts of applesauce. And
Wow.
so I've been doing that in anything that calls for oil, brownies and such like that. It just this ratio 1 to 1. You don't have to do any hard math. And
Do
so
you
it's just,
use,
so I
pardon?
just use that for my oil.
So do you use tallow from, like, you must need oil or fats at some time. Do you use the fat
Correct.
from animals?
Yeah, I do get lard. I do buy
Yeah.
lard, and we're pretty close to an Amish community. And
Mhm.
so I can go into their store and buy their lard there. Yes. I mean, I'm not totally off of facts. We do have to use olive oil and stuff for certain things, like for frying and stuff like that. But yeah, but like for my baking, I've been
Mhm.
trying to switch it out to the applesauce.
And so
Yeah.
what about sugar? Are you also, obviously you're low sugar, that's always a way to reduce your sugar intake, but do you have honey from bees?
Yes. Not our own, but
Yeah.
we can source that locally. So yeah, it's
Love
pretty
that.
convenient. I do want to, that's something I do have on my 2024 vision for my homestead is, and that's is to get maybe a beehive. So I have a friend that said she could bring over her bee thing to
Yeah.
bring the honeybees over. So whatever that's called.
I love that. I really would love to have bees. I've heard that
Yes.
they increase your production by 20%, something like that. I'm terrified. I actually, one of the first things that really terrified me as a child is being stung by a bunch of bees.
Yeah.
So I'm scared of it, except I also know they're incredibly important. Thank you, Disney.
Yeah. That's the only good thing Disney did was have that movie.
I definitely learned. And I also see it because I have a ton of lavender and that draws all sorts of buzzing things. And anyways,
Yeah.
I don't need to go into the details of that, but this whole homesteading thing, it's
Yeah.
so creative and it's just so
Yeah.
fun and self-sufficient. And I'm also added, includes or in kind of encourages me to move into community because just like you said, you don't have to do everything independently. There's someone local that's making butter,
Yeah.
someone local that's doing the honey or the whatever. So it's super fun to move into community
Yeah.
that way too. So
Yes,
thank you.
definitely.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. I'm so
Oh,
excited. Would you
you're
consider
welcome.
introducing yourself to anyone that hasn't met you before?
Oh, sure. I'm Kimberly Sperry, and I'm from the United States. I'm from the state of Missouri, Northwest Missouri, way up north. you can get that north, I guess. Like I'm from Minnesota, way up north, but but um, the region is Northwest Missouri, and I have 11 kids, and eight are home. I have trying to do the math real fast. I have 2 girls out of the 11, so but and I also have a blog, The Purposeful Home Life, and it's all about homemaking, homeschooling, and homesteading. And I want to thank Teresa for having me to visit with you today about canning. We're going to do green beans today because that kind of seems like something that's really pretty simple. You can't really mess up green beans, and so that's what I'm going to show you how to do today.
Thank you.
So,
I'm so glad you're here. You know, I was looking for my green beans and I didn't find it, but I have actually messed those up too. I have overdosed them with too much hot water for too long, and then they're not very crunchy, not really nice. But I'm going to let you take it over and you just do what you're here
okay,
to share with us.
okay. I just kind of going to start the very, very basics. If you're not even familiar with it, there are different jar sizes, and that's an important thing to know because we do have, this one here is just a regular mouth jar, and it takes a regular ring and a regular band, and you can still fit your funnel on there, but the wide mouth, seems like you can just put more stuff down in there. So here's a wide mouth jar, and it takes, again, a wide mouth lid and a wide mouth ring. And some grocery stores will carry these. I know ours do, and right now they're kind of on sale because they're out of season. And that's one of the things I was going to mention, to maybe you're going to get into this, to go ahead and start buying your stuff now. Do not wait until it's peak season, because then you're not going to probably find it, or you're going to find it and you're going to pay twice as much for it. And so what you're going to want to do is go ahead and get your rings in some boiling water and put them in that so they can start warming up. And then you're also going to want to get warming up your jars with hot water. And this is just the way I do it. There's different methods out there. And then you'll fill this up with hot water. And then when you're ready to put them in your jar, I got my green beans here. These were actually already pre-canned, but I'm going to show you how I do it. Oh, can I back up just a second?
Mhm.
Okay. I also wanted to show you too, there's also pints. You can also do smaller versions. And then this one here is not quite a half pint. It's more like a jelly type jar. It's actually 8 cups if you fill it completely full. Otherwise, it's just 6. And so I wanted just to bring that up. But what you're going to do is on your jar, you're going to take your pickling salt, and you're going to add a teaspoon of the pickling salt to your jar.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to measure out your green beans. You're going to put them down inside here like this. I know there's different methods to all this madness, as I like to say. And so you just kind of go with what you think was going to work best for you. And I want to also mention it's kind of hard sometimes to know how much to do up, like if you're just starting out on your garden and stuff. What I like to do is think about it, how much do you eat at each meal? And then I lost my train of thought, I apologize. And then take that time, so like every Sunday we eat green beans. Well, how many weeks is there in a year? 52. So take that times 4. It takes 4 quarts to feed us at a meal. And so then that'll give you what, do the math real quick, Teresa. I think it's 300 and some, it's going to be over 200 quarts. And then once you get that in, I apologize about the filming.
Oh,
And then once you get your
I
green
love
beans
seeing your kitchen. It's such like classic farmhouse kitchen. Really beautiful.
thank you. And once you get your green beans in, then you're going to fill it up to water to the neck part. Right here, you're going to fill it up with water to the neck part. And so just going to fill that up. And
So is it boiling water? Is it cool water? Is it brine water? How do you decide about water?
I usually just use usually hot water.
Yeah.
You can, yeah. And then you're just gonna add the hot water to this up to this rim. And you want to leave some headspace so it doesn't go
Yeah.
over in your canner. And then you're just going to take a knife. I don't have anything fancy. They'll try selling you fancy stuff. I don't have money to spend on it. And you're just going to take the knife and you're just going to run it down along the side of it to get out any air bubbles.
Oh, that's a good idea. I had not thought of doing that.
And then you're going to take your hot ring and your hot. And the reason why you want everything the same temperature so you get a good seal on it. And then you're just going to seal it till it's tight like this.
Yeah.
And you're just going to process it in your canner. And I'll kind of go over the equipment that I use. This here is a Presto canner, and it will hold 7 quarts. Nope, you can kind of see it there.
Yeah.
And I would like to get one. It's a bigger one that actually double layers. But anyways, and then you're just going to process this for the amount of time that it says.
So I use a pressure canner. I'm scared of pressure canners. I won't lie. I've heard stories. Did you always use a pressure canner? Do you boil your jars, or it's always a pressure canner?
I just use the pressure canner. There's some recipes though that are water bath only. And so I do have a water bath for those that are just specifically for the water bath.
Like dilled green beans. Do you ever do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this.
And then there's some tomato products that are just water bath, I believe so too. But yeah.
So do you can meat? Because I know that's a pressure canner thing.
Yes, we ate it last week, so I don't have it. My mom and dad actually sent some up. It was 2 quarts of ham.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we just took it out and then had, I think it's ham and mashed potatoes or something like that. But
Ooh, that's the best in a can. You know, yeah, that's a whole different kind of ham. That's really tasty.
Yeah. And I'd like to this year, whenever we process our venison, I'd like to do some of that in canning so I don't have so much in the deep freeze, because we're like you, and if electricity goes out, we don't actually have a generator. And so we'd probably be putting stuff outside in the snow and barricading it, but
do you have wild animals?
Just our dogs.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a wild animal like that too. A large guardian dog, not beloved by the neighbors. But but do you have coyotes or wolves or bears?
Yeah, we have coyotes, but they usually don't come this far up probably because of the dogs. But they're out there. Yeah, we can hear them howling sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So you can put the meat outside and it's not a problem.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So what do you raise on your farm?
Right now we just have one butcher steer and then the chickens is all we've got right now.
Yeah. That's beautiful. How many chickens do you have? I'm curious what breeds of chicken you have.
Oh, we have some Rhode Island Reds, and then we have some Barred Rocks.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a smattering of ones, but I've got this barred rock I noticed this morning who's kind of hobbling a bit, and she looks thinner than normal. And I'm thinking, I don't know, something's up. Maybe bumble feet. Have you ever heard of bumble?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some research afterwards. But you know what? I probably spent 10 years researching chickens, like with this book here. And then I realized they're so easy. What was I thinking? It was so simple to look after chickens. Looking after goats is next level, but having a large guardian dog, that takes the cake. I did no research, bought the girl in a weekend, probably should have done research.
Yeah. Yes.
So last question before I let you go back to sharing the what you're here for, to share with us a canning workshop, but it is, how do you incorporate homesteading into your homeschool?
Oh, actually it's just quite natural, and I don't want to sound cocky, I guess. I want to sound, bragging or anything, but when it's just like that, you just take them out there and then you just explain this, we've gone over like the soil, the worms, and how they aerate, and just how many seeds you need for this row. Well, if you use this many this time, how many are you going to use on the next row? That sort of thing. And then the importance of keeping the weeds and stuff out, you know, that actually, and that goes more into like a discipline type thing, I guess. Just being able to go out there, okay, this is your row, these are your rows to take care of, this is your responsibility. And that's kind of
Right.
how we do it. It's not so much just homes, you know, for the schooling of it, it also goes into the discipline part too. And that's how we've been doing it the last couple of years, is each kid has so many rows of this, so many rows of that, and they got to till it or, you know, keep the weeds out. And then those are those rows to pick.
Wow.
So,
So cool. I remember living, like growing up in the suburbs, and the idea of doing any of this lifestyle was like just out of my game. Like I would never have thought to do this. And now watching my kids being exposed to, we've only been here for 10 years, and we've started from the rock up. We were completely raw land, and it's pretty much all granite that we built on. And so every rock for every garden bed I put out there, or my kids, me and the kids. And it was a ton of work, but it's such nourishing work to live here, and just brings you back to the present. It feels like you're out there with God and God's energy and God's space, God's time. And it's an absolute delightful lifestyle. It is work. It's not cheaper. I don't think it's cheaper because there's a lot to do, but it's a beautiful lifestyle. Yeah,
and it's so rewarding. Anyone can go buy it at the store, but not everyone, you know, and it's just more of a reward, you
it
know, that,
really
oh,
is.
this is so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
take it away. Tell me what you're going to share with us.
Okay. I'm just going to share a couple of things. I guess back to the jar stuff, that the things that are kind of more essential when you first get started, you definitely want a funnel of some kind. This is a wide mouth type funnel. This really helps just on any of the jars, and you're not slopping all over the place. And then you'll want some different tongs to actually reach down and get the hot stuff out of the pan. They
Yeah.
do have a really neat thing that I'd like to invest in, and that is one, looks like a stick, and it has a magnet on the end, and then you stick it
Oh,
down in there and it picks it up for you. But these work just as well.
yeah. I want one of those. I definitely would like one of
Yeah,
those too.
yeah, nothing fancy, but and these are your jars, so you can lift
Yeah.
them up out of the canner without getting burnt. So, and they're not anything too hard to use, so they're really nice. And then this is a pressure canner cooker. I'm not an affiliate for them, but I really like this one. This is what it is, just
Yes.
and then you don't even have to watch a gauge. When I used to have one, you had to watch a gauge on
Yes. Those are
how,
the ones I was
yeah,
afraid of. Yeah.
yes, yeah, the one that you could just see exploding. But no, this you don't. And then it comes with
Mhm.
weights, and then it just tells you how many weights. Each weight's 10 pounds. And so then you add however many weights that you need, and then it tells you the instructions inside the book, and it also gives you recipes the same. But and another thing, you were showing the chicken book. This is a book that I got recently. Everything Worth
Oh,
Preserving.
oh, yes.
And
Melissa K. Norris. I listened to her on
yeah,
podcasts for a
yeah.
long
So
time.
she's a wealth of information on her blog and YouTube and stuff too. So I'd highly recommend getting that book if you need help or you just want different recipes. There are different recipes in there too. So, and
Brilliant.
one of the big no-nos, go ahead.
Tell me what you like to can every year. What do you typically can?
I don't know amounts because I didn't keep track, but this year I'm gonna actually make myself a little mini garden journal so I know exactly what I planted. And I'm also gonna start, I kind of did it last year on the calendar, but I want it all in one little place. So I'm gonna actually create a little mini journal so I know when I planted and that kind of stuff. But usually green beans is a big one, and then corn. We
Yeah.
don't always grow the corn, but we have other neighbors that'll grow corn and let us come pick their sweet corn. Beets. Oh, and then peppers and onions. And then and then this year I also want to get into storing more potatoes. I did potatoes, but I didn't know there were so many different kinds. And there's actually different kinds that actually stay preserved longer than others.
Yes.
I didn't know. I was just putting the potatoes that had eyes in from from my potato sack in here, and there. I didn't. I mean, we got to eat them, but it wasn't enough to preserve because I didn't even do my research on what potatoes, are long lasting. But you live and learn.
You
And
sure
then,
do. Yeah. The first time I put a garden
so
in, I thought you put all the seeds of the entire packet into the garden, and I had a very large
oh
garden. So I had
yeah,
that year 19 zucchini plants.
I bet your neighbors loved you.
Yeah, nobody could give away that much zucchini.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we usually do zucchini and then some kind of like spaghetti squash and then just other squash and then cucumbers. And then I haven't done much pickling because the last few years they haven't done very well. So I need to read up on my soil pH level and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that really is a
Yeah,
learning curve, but it's such a
yeah,
creative, fun learning curve that you get to
yeah.
go outside, and it teaches the kids so much. And in my experience, when the kids actually age out, like when their interest is decreased and it really does just become a chore, then it can become a
Mhm,
quiet place because nobody wants to hang
yeah,
outside with you. So then you're outside doing your things, but you're very much
yeah,
reliant on the weather and whatever whatever you plant won't necessarily come out of the ground at the end of the year. Or like my experience last year when I went to the east to visit my daughters, I came back and the deer had eaten all my garden, despite
yeah.
being in a fenced garden. Yeah, it
Uh,
happens.
that's so aggravating, isn't it?
It is so much work. I started them at this time of year. My seedlings is I usually start February, January, February, and then I'm
Mhm,
nursing them until May, long weekend-ish, and then I put them in the ground and I take care of them
mhm.
every single day. And by July something, they were all gone.
They've all gone. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Now, there's a whole nother topic on that too, but I don't, we're trying to get more into the heirloom stuff. But
Yeah.
last year we just did all, but actually we didn't even do our own seeds. We just went to the local nursery over at our Amish community and we just got plants from there is what we did. And I think we had over
Yeah.
80 plants
Wow.
and but we had a really late rain and everything got so wet that it
Yeah.
basically killed it. And
Oh,
so I didn't get up as much tomato stuff, but I did get up. I did do some little paste, some tomato paste,
tomato
and I didn't
paste. Nice.
get it down, but I did ketchup, and then I did just my tomato sauce. I just canned the sauce, and then I don't put anything in it, and then that way I can either make spaghetti sauce or sloppy Joe sauce. It's versatile if I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
And so I just left it alone this year. All the other years I kind of went in and made a bunch of salsa and stuff. No, not this year. I just went ahead and just did straight sauce, and then I'll just make it into whatever I want. And then on some of that though, I might say that some of it needs to still go ahead and cook down a little bit, or it'll be so runny.
Yes.
So like your pizza sauce and stuff like that, you still need to cook it down. So there's a little bit more work to it, but for homeschool moms, just put it on the stove, let it simmer and watch it, go about your
Yes.
day. And then, yeah. And so
Yeah.
then I showed you, we had so much apples. So I did probably 100 quarts of applesauce. And then we're a big family. So this here is actually blackberry jelly.
Oh, that's
And
so good.
yeah,
I've got
yeah,
Concord grape jelly, but
yeah,
blackberry
yeah,
jelly, yeah.
yeah.
But grabbing those blackberries out of those thorns, that's a challenge in itself.
Well, this is actually from a friend of mine who's in their thornless, so it's
Oh,
it's a breeze. It's a
nice.
breeze. Yeah, and then we also did mulberry. My kids pick mulberries, so we have mulberry too, just a little bit. And then I think I told you in my this is dandelion. There's a dandelion jelly. It almost looks like honey. It almost tastes like honey.
It's
So
something
this is
anybody
work.
could do. I'm pretty sure we all in North America know what dandelions are. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
In the
exactly.
beginning, when I actually have a few posts on my website about foraging. And so I was learning about all the different plants that you could eat and how you could use them. And dandelions, of course, when the greens are babies, you can eat them like a salad. And so I thought
Mm.
this was the coolest thing ever. I know that there's no pesticides in my area and certainly not on my yard since it was raw land. Nobody ever lived here. And so then I did that for the first 2 years, but then turns out dandelion salad, not so fun. It's not my favorite.
Yeah, yeah. They're a lot of work, and you got
Yeah,
to do it quick because they'll you it's just a fast process. There's no waiting on them. So once you put them in the refrigerator to get your dandelion tea, you got to process it. So I learned that the hard way. It doesn't last a week.
no, it
So
does not.
all your work goes to waste. But yes. And then another thing we got this year too was elderberries, but
Yes,
I
we've
don't
got
I
them.
they're
Yeah,
they're frozen. I haven't done anything with them yet. So on a really, really cold day when I need the heat from the stove, I'll crank it up. We'll probably make some elderberry juice or some
beautiful.
jam or some jelly. But
That's
yes.
another thing that
Yeah.
I keep regularly is elderberry juice from this plant that just sprang up, or this tree really, that sprang up
Uh-huh.
in this open spot. Spontaneously, it showed up in the exact spot I needed a tree. And it's like overlooking the river with my Adirondack chairs. I put it on Instagram a lot, this photo. And those elderberry trees, or those berries, are just bursting all the time. There's so many. And though it's kind of punchy, like it's tart, it really
Mhm.
is a very useful, I don't know if they call it tincture, or it's really useful in the cold and flu season because
Mhm.
it helps with viruses. I don't know if it's to
Yeah.
decrease the viral load, to what, I don't know, but we use it.
Yeah. 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 But it has very good immune building stuff. It
Immune
does.
building, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm. So I don't know, what else do you want to know? I kind of
yeah.
don't know if I did it too fast or if that was good enough, or
Do you know
I
what?
don't know.
This is so fascinating. First of all, I just want to show I've got this entire series of books by Ashley English, and they're
Oh,
pleasantly dirty, as you would expect from a homesteading book that I use regularly. It's called The Essential Book of Homesteading. And then I've got the Keeping Chickens with Ashley English. And the one that I love for gardening is called Groundbreaking Food Gardens by Nikki Jabor, and it has lots of ideas for how you can make
okay.
gardens. Just really fun to read at this time of year.
Yeah.
But I, I've also got a canning book, or specific canning recipe book, which I know there are many.
Mhm.
I think this whole thing for me is such a creative venture. It's also
Mhm.
connecting in with nature, but it's like such a creativity. Is this something that you did when you were a child, or did you decide to do this as an adult?
No, grew up doing it.
You grew up doing it, so
Yeah.
it's just what you
Yeah.
always did.
Yeah, until mom had to leave to go to work.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did it up until that, and then late 80s, I'm going to date myself, but late 80s, mom went back to work, and so kind of just petered off. But we always did applesauce because we had an orchard, and that was something us girls could go down and do. But yeah, the garden kind of just went away. Yeah.
beautiful.
And,
Okay, so does it
yeah.
feel like a creative activity for you, or is it, this is part of life, eating, making food, bringing food in, processing it?
Yeah, it's all in the mind. I'm kind of on this mindset journey, and so it's all in the mind. It's really in a mindset because it's kind of like homeschooling. It's going to take so many hours or
Yeah,
whatever. If you do it that way, then you need to have your mind that it's going to take this long. And then the same way, kind of with gardening, it's gonna take time. But yeah, I'd have to agree. To some extent, it is because it's such a nice, fulfilling thing. Okay, I know we've got something to eat. It may not be what we want. We might all be green beaned out, but we have something to
yes.
eat. So it's satisfying knowing that last year when we were all complaining, gotta go pick green. Yeah, you do.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Okay, so I'm going to
but,
switch gears a bit. I know that this is what you do, is actually work with other homeschool moms who are homeschool moms new to homeschooling, but also homeschool moms that have a bunch of kids. So
yeah.
that is fascinating that you're able to do all the things you're doing on a homestead and also homeschooling a bunch of kids. And I remember you saying once when we were having a conversation in the support group that you only have 8 kids at home now. And I was like, wow, girl, like you're double the industry average, or at least my opinion on what the industry average is. I noticed that we typically have 4 kids. Not everybody. I know there's all sorts of numbers out there, but it's a common thing to hear four.
Yeah.
At least to me. And so you have 8 kids left at home. How do you do all
Mhm.
of that?
The main thing is incorporate them into helping, and then that's would be my easy answer right there. Is
Yeah.
just incorporate them into helping for sure. Yeah, because that, like we talked earlier about them having their own rows of green beans, well, just like the outside chores, I just can't do it, and so for them to be adults, because we're not raising a 10-year-old, as my husband says, we're raising an adult. So, and what a better way to learn than learn the life skills and everything right here as we go along.
So what
So,
tips would you have for the new to homeschooling mom who has a bunch of kids? Can you remember back what it was like?
well, back then I didn't have so many. We just keep adding.
Touche.
back back then I was your typical four. But I guess my biggest thing that I had to get over was don't set your expectations so high
Mm,
that there's no way you'll ever reach that expectation. So I'd say set them about medium maybe and strive for that, because setting your expectation just really makes you hit the ground a lot harder.
mhm.
And
Yes.
that's what I would say would be not set them so high.
Beautiful, as always, classic advice for pretty much every homeschool mother in
Yeah.
various ways. But
Yeah.
there's something about, I don't know, we are a very capable lot. That's what I've seen. We're very industrious as homeschool parents, very
Hmm.
resourceful, independent, intelligent, and want to make stuff happen, and we do. And
Hmm.
that's definitely what I see that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so curious, your routine. Do you have a typical routine, like how you incorporate the homeschool activities into your day?
Well, the winter time's always easier than when it starts getting warmer. Um, but usually we try, you want me to go into like how we do the schooling, like in the mornings?
Sure.
Is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah.
Usually try starting about 9, and then I
Yeah.
like to try finishing up about 1. But in between there, we have to go out. Now that it's so cold, like it is where you guys are at,
Yeah.
this livestock has to be watered at noon again,
Yes.
we have to kind of break and do that, and then go check eggs so not frozen. And
Yeah.
and so that's basically how I do it. I don't know. Did you want me to go into like we do our together stuff? I would kind of do like a morning basket with the Bible reading, and then we have our read alouds. We're all really big into read alouds, and they like me to keep reading one more chapter, and it's like we got to go on to something else. And um, but then I do a curriculum that everyone can do the science and the history with, and that seems to work really well with us. And then we each have their own math that they do, and then their own English and spelling. So we're kind of the hate to say, because so many people, I think you just need to do also what I tell the homeschool mom, what's going to work for you. There's so much out there, unschooling, Charlotte Mason, and all that. I don't know. I am. I've done it for so long this way. I've kind of almost just brought school home, but that has worked for us.
Yeah.
We do all the subjects, but we also allow the kids to do their own creative things too. We got three boys that like to trap, so they're big in trapping, and they have an adult male that takes them trapping, and two of the boys have actually gone to different trapping conventions, Minnesota, and this year they're going to, I think, North Dakota. So I mean, they have their own things outside the curriculum. Another boy, he builds miniature houses, and one of the boys, he built two, and one of them now is the boys' skinning shed for their trapping, so they can
Wow.
skin their animals. And so there's other things, and then I think we might have talked about this before. Some of the boys get to go with dad to work because he builds real log cabins from real cedar trees. And so I mean, so that's where I feel like it's okay that I feel, I guess, in my soul, it's okay. I still do the traditional work because that's what's worked for us,
That is the question
and,
I always ask
and
homeschool moms is
yeah,
it working for you? Because that's the only thing that matters.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really mean you talked about this too, just putting on the blinders on social media, because I'm just not wired that way, you know. I just I'm not wired that way not to have something wrote out or strictly, you know, I don't know if I want to say strict, but something already pre-wrote out for me. So yeah,
Beautiful. You have a
yeah.
beautiful life. I
Oh,
love
thank you.
it and all the different facets. It is so creative and so interesting. And
Yeah.
you're doing so much. So it's just
Oh,
amazing to me. It really is.
oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your
Yes.
kitchen. Thank you for sharing your
Oh,
canning workshop.
yes, yes. I can get out of the way a little bit here.
Yeah, it really reminds me of just classic farmhouse kitchen. Oh, I
Yeah.
love it. Even your door. That's so similar to my door. Pantry door, I think.
Like this. Things. The bedroom door. I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yes. And it swings.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding? That is so cool. That is so much like my grandma's kitchen, which I
Yeah.
haven't mentioned to you. You said you live near an Amish community, and
Yes.
I, at my dad's side of the family, is a Mennonite community, and so
Oh,
they're not the same, but there is
oh,
definitely some overlap, and that
oh,
the different elements of your kitchen really does remind me of my grandma's kitchen.
oh, thank you.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it's
Yes.
such a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for
Yes.
being here. Oh, you know
Yes.
what I want to know is where can we find you online, especially if you're a
Oh,
new homeschool mom that has a bunch of kids? Tell me where we can
yeah.
find you.
Yes, definitely. I'm over on Facebook. My group is Intentional Full-Time Mom. And then my blog or my website is apurposefulhomelife.com. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for being here,
Yeah.
Kimberly.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I hope that this was learning for everyone. Just a very basic get to start, and it can be done. It can be done. So
Homesteading in any home. I love it. Thank you.
yes, yeah, and you don't have to be in the country. You can do it in town. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.